GLSEN and other groups also promote pro-homosexual events for the entire school.
One school in Massachusetts used to have something they called To Be Glad Day, and it didn't explain necessarily to the parents that To Be Glad was an acronym for transgender, bisexual, gay, and lesbian. So you begin to indoctrinate all of the students through special events like that. Then the agenda moves on. It's not enough to have a one-time special event. They actually want to have teaching about homosexuality incorporated into the curriculum of the school system. This would include not only teaching about homosexuality in sex education classes, treating it as fully equivalent to heterosexuality, but also teaching about homosexuality in history classes, having lessons on so-called gay history, treating it like a civil rights movement, talking about gay authors and gay-oriented literature in English classes and so forth. They want to incorporate it throughout the curriculum.
When it comes to the littlest children, the homosexual lobby has books strategically placed in the children's section of school libraries.
I stopped her from reading, and we read the book first ourselves, and we had to sit down and explain to her that this wasn't something that we felt like she should be reading, that wasn't something we condoned.
The book Olivia had checked out, King and King, depicts a prince who rejects a number of potential princesses before finally falling in love with another prince. At the end of the book, written for ages 6 and up, the two princes marry and even share a kiss.
I was shocked. After looking through the pages and us reading what she was reading to us, and then Mike and I both looked at each other and was just surprised. And we explained to her that we did not want her to read this kind of book, and we both just went outside and had to take a breath, and I just sat on the steps and just cried because I was surprised.
She's 7 years old. She's not old enough to try to make a determination of the right or wrong thing to do when it comes to same-sex marriage. She's not.
The pinnacle of the strategic pyramid is the persecution of anyone who opposes the radical homosexual agenda.
Where people who express the personal opposition to homosexuality, no matter how peacefully, lovingly, and respectfully they may do so, such people are subjected to discipline, persecution, in the case of teachers or staff, possibly even being fired if they suggest that there's anything wrong with engaging in homosexual conduct. In a speech in the year 2000, in which he was speaking of the religious right, he said, "We have to quit being afraid of the religious right." I'm trying to find a way to say this. I'm trying not to say bleep them, which is what I want to say, because I don't care what they think. Drop dead.
Brian Kammaker knows firsthand what can happen when a parent speaks out against the homosexual agenda in schools.
I remember a big headline, "Officials fear religious right targeting schools," simply because we'd asked about this stuff. And they were talking about me. And I remember at one point, one of the school committee members was on the radio and in the newspaper telling people that they should stay away from me because she said that I'm a Christian fundamentalist and they should stay away from me. Now, of course, I'm actually Jewish. And you know, I'm thinking, what kind of nonsense? I mean, how do they know what I am, you know? They just made that up.
On another occasion, Kammaker got an angry phone call from Kevin Jennings himself.
Kevin Jennings called me at home. I think it was in 1997 or 1998 when our group, Parents' Rights Coalition, was going to picket one of their events in a high school, their events for kids and teachers. And he obviously got so angry at this idea that he called me at home and yelled and screamed at me. And they didn't want any bad publicity, I guess, but they ended up getting some.
Brian Kammaker founded the Parents' Rights Coalition in Massachusetts, now called Mass Resistance, when he discovered what was happening in his children's school. Sixth graders were being taught about homosexual sex acts in a living and learning class.
When we looked at the teacher's edition, it had these really gross, homosexual sex acts described. And I mean, stuff I'd never seen. And we asked about it, and they started telling us, well, if you don't like it, send your kids to a private school, because this is what we're doing.